Hi everybody, welcome back to engVid.com. I'm Adam. In today's video, I want to talk to you about communication. Now, of course, we're talking in English and we're thinking about how to express ourselves and understand people in English. But what I want to stress in specific today are stresses and pauses when we're speaking. Because when we speak, a lot of the things we say are communicated without even using words. They're communicating by stressing certain words or taking certain pauses that give a hint or a cue or a signal to the listener that we are meaning something else. So it's very important to understand how the stresses and pauses work in terms of the ideas that they represent. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples. Look at this sentence. I wouldn't say it's his fault. I'm just going to make this capital. I wouldn't say it's his fault, but. So if I say it very neutrally, without stressing any particular word or any part of the clause, it doesn't really say much. But if I stress different words, each time I use a different stress, it's a different meaning. So if I say, I wouldn't say it's his fault, somebody else might say it, right? So if I stress the word I, that's what you have to focus on and understand that it's not me who's saying this. Somebody else, or I'm hinting at somebody else. But if I move the stress and put it here, I wouldn't say it's his fault. Means you think that I would say it's his fault, but I wouldn't say it. I'm negating your idea. I'm saying it's the opposite of what you're thinking, right? So I'm stressing the negative, and then that's the idea there. I wouldn't say it's his fault. If I'm stressing the say, that has a different meaning, right? I wouldn't say it out loud. I would just think it. And maybe you'll understand, maybe you won't, but I would never say it out loud and offend someone. And then again, I can keep going with every word, putting the stress on every word, and each time I change the stress, I change the sentence. Now, another thing I want you to notice is the 3 dots here. I wouldn't say it's his fault, but. Now, that big pause that I took here between fault and but already suggests to you that there's something else involved beyond the words here. I wouldn't say it's his fault, but means, yeah, it's his fault, right? Even though I wouldn't say it, even though somebody else might not say it, everybody understands it's his fault. And that's what that pause suggests. Obviously, the word but shows that there's going to be a contrast, but I don't need to go on. As soon as I take that pause and use the word but together, it's very clear what's coming next, and I don't need to continue speaking. Now, if you're just learning English and you hear the word but, you're expecting something else to come. It's not coming, and it doesn't need to come. You need to understand the pause. Says everything you need to know. And that's where you have to pay a lot of attention not only to the words people use when they speak, but how they use them, how they use their sentences, how they use clauses, how they stress certain words and take pauses between words. So here's another example. You could say that. Very neutral, you could say that. I'm not stressing any word. I'm not changing my inflection at any point throughout the sentence. Now, if I say, you could say that, I'm not allowed to. I'm the boss. I can't say anything that takes sides, but you can say that, right? So I'm stressing that you have the power, I don't. You could say that, means it's possible, but maybe not. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. You could say that. You could say that, right? Every word I stress, different meaning. Now, let me say how sometimes it might be heard. You could say that. You could say that. What does this mean? It means you shouldn't say that. You could say that, but don't, right? Because you might offend somebody. Somebody may misunderstand. You could say that. So I take a little bit of a pause, and then I stress the word, and then it adds a different meaning. You could say that, but it's not necessarily true, right? So again, I can do this with 1,000 different sentences, and every time I change the stress and pause, you'll get not only 1,000, you'll get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,000 different sentences, right? So that's the key to paying attention. Remember that you're communicating with the words, with the syntax, means how you arrange the words, but you're also communicating with your tone of voice, stresses, pauses, your hands, your face, your body. All of this together works in communication, in spoken communication. Writing, obviously, there's the text on the page, and that's what you're dealing with. So keep that in mind as well. Now, because this is more of a listening exercise, I can't really make a quiz about it, but you can certainly come and ask me questions on engVid.com, and I'll be happy to answer them. And the main thing is watch a lot of TV shows, a lot of movies, and pay attention to the way things are said rather than only what is said. Okay? So, if you like the video, give me a like, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and come back next time. I'll give you some more tips to communicate in English with natives and non-natives alike. Okay? See you then.